Hi. Episode of Over the Glass. I am your host, Ness.
And I am Jey.
We have I don't know, some fun updates. Again, in case you missed it last week, we are in a partnership with the Hockey Podcast Network. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see all the fun logos surrounding our little windows here. I did want to mention last night both Jey and I were invited onto Kaya's Game Over Vancouver podcast right after the game. The Sharks played the Vancouver Canucks and heartbreaking 3-2 loss for the Sharks. I had a lot of fun, but I want to hear how you felt about it.
In general, just the game being on Game Over.
The game, well, no, I want to talk about Game Over first, and then we can talk a little bit about the game.
Yeah, Game Over was fun. It was our first time getting to check out the digs over on that network. It's always fun to get invited onto another platform, just talk hockey. And so when Kaya, reached out, I was like, yeah, of course, that sounds like fun. It as always, it's really great to, like I talk with, I've got my handful of friends that I talk about the Sharks all week, but it's cool to kind of get perspective from a different fan base, especially when you go up against that team. I was optimistic about this matchup, and so I was happy that the Sharks they tried to continue their streak. Even though we didn't win, it was still a very competitive game, so that helped to bring stuff to talk about to the table. Because if we just got blown out, it would have just, I don't know, like I probably just would have been like bitching about the team for like an hour. So it was cool to have more positive things to talk about, and then to kind of get the perspective of from the Canucks side, because obviously they're in a different situation than us. They're supposed to be doing better. If they don't make the playoffs, like that's going to be like disruptive to their fan base. So I thought it was really fun to go in
Yeah,
there.
I think it's a lot different vibes than what we do here because it was a lot more hockey focused. Whereas, for us, we're more laid back and like to focus on stories more so than anything. Like, obviously, we still talk about hockey. This is a hockey podcast, but for that, it's very much like, what the teams were doing on the ice and the score, how certain players were looking out there. We don't do that so much here because we like to just have fun with whatever it is that we're bringing here. So
We
that
just
was
kind of wing it.
yeah, we sure do.
We just bring up random stuff. We don't actually have, like, if we talk about the game, we're not going from like, so here's our breakdown from period
Yeah.
one through blah blah. We just like talk
There's
at random
right.
from things that we saw.
There's so many podcasts that do that. Like, why are you going to tune into us doing
Hmm.
that too? We're not that knowledgeable in it. But no, that was a lot of fun. Thanks. Shout out to Kaya. Thanks for inviting us on. Maybe we'll be able to hop on there again in the future. We'll see. I'll try to come a little bit more prepared. But
Yeah, if you didn't see us last night, just go over to Game Over Vancouver on YouTube, or they also upload it for your listening pleasures on any podcast platform. So go check out what we had to say.
whole lot of nothing. No, just kidding. uh, we're gonna stay on the topic of the Sharks because that's what we like to do here. Since Sharks fans or whatever. We did have a surprising trade that happened this past week. And I say surprising only because I wasn't expecting a trade this early on in the season, not because I was surprised that this player left. Sorry. Um, so Mike Greer decided to call up who's the GM in Toronto. I don't know.
I forget his name, that guy.
Yes, that one guy for the Leafs. Told them, listen, I got a defenseman, you got a defenseman. I think we should swapsies. So Matt Benning ended up going to Toronto with a couple of picks for the next two drafts coming up, and then we ended up with Timothy Liljegren. This is something I'm not sure how to pronounce his name because he apparently wants it to be pronounced Liljegren now. This was a talk of Twitter last night, even though there's like this video of him pronouncing his name as Liljegren. I don't know. I'm gonna go ahead and go with what's happening currently. So Liljegren, our new defenseman, he did get to play on the Sharks last night against the Canucks. I forget who he started playing with. Was he with Ferraro?
I want to say so, but not too confident.
Right, my bad. I again see this is what I mean when we just wing it. We started
You're
off.
not getting the play-by-play here.
No, I am not Randy Hahn. Started off, I believe, on the second pairing, and ended up. No, I can't even say that because the defenseman ended up switching at some point when Walman left in the middle of the game when he got injured for a hot second. But I don't think he seemed out of place. I don't think he did like a really fantastic job. I wasn't super focused on him. But the fact that I wasn't focused on him, like if he made mistakes or whatever, is a good sign in my eyes. I think he is gonna he shows some promise for this team in the specific place that we're at right now.
Yeah, there are a few things that I mentioned on Game Over last night. Is I did try to look up some of the backstory as to why this trade happened. I mean, from the Sharks' perspective, I mean, Matt Benning was hanging out as our seventh defenseman. He was already kind of scratched a few games in favor of uh, Jack Thompson and I think Henry Thrun. I think they were kind of like rotating out through the third pair. So it already kind of felt like, oh, he's not cracking the top two pairs. But like you, I was surprised, but then not surprised that a trade happened because, especially with Matt Benning, maybe it was something that was always kind of being considered long before the season started. I want to say, like, offhand, Benning has another year on his contract. I remember when we got him last season, right?
It
He
was like 2
we
seasons
signed
ago.
him. Yeah, so he was like we signed him for 3 years. So I think, when you look at how trades happen in this league, you kind of start to think about a player like in Matt Benning's case, where if you're due to become a UFA at the end of the season, or you've got an extra year, which could be beneficial for the team that acquires you to kind of like see if you mesh well with them, or then they just end up flipping you. So it's like one of those. He was in that scenario where it's not so surprising that he got moved, on top of the fact that he's movable because he's not consistently showing that he's going to be in our lineup. So we might as well try to get something out of it. Um, so that was immediately what I thought when I saw that the Sharks moved Matt Benning. Now, why were we getting Timothy Liljegren? And that was the part where I was like, I need more information. I need it from the Leafs perspective. Like, what did not work out with this guy? Like, are we getting like flaming hot garbage or coming our way? Like, I just need to know what to expect. Like
Jay, please, that's a
offhand.
person.
Listen, this entire franchise is a flaming hot garbage. Okay, and me included in this garbage. So I am laughing with us. So, because just looking at it, you're like, okay, did we give up too much? Like, is Matt Benning just in a situation where we just want to really move him and no one will take him? Like, I just need to know the whys behind this so I can go to bed. Um, And just kind of what I observed from here. I'm actually going to bring up because I saw that one of our neighboring podcast friends in these shark waters kind of put it in perspective where the initial thoughts related to the trade made me feel better. Let's see, where is that? Please hold. Whatever.
Insert elevator music of your choice.
Oh, where is it? Oh, here we go. Okay. So Half Wall Hockey said right after this trade, so Walman, Liljegren, CC, and a second for Benning, Emberson, and a six. So when you think
It's
about it,
It's
we're
not
kind of doing,
bad.
yeah, we're kind of
That's
like,
great.
even if this turns out to be a terrible trade and Liljegren doesn't work out in our franchise, like, I'm not mad about this trade.
No.
I feel fine for the transaction part of it. And then acquiring Liljegren, who's 5 years younger than Matt Benning. We know that right before we started this rebuild, we were like one of the oldest teams, and we were desperate for a major makeover to start building this franchise back up for sustainability. So this is another great move from my perspective from Mike Greer. We have this defenseman that, is movable. Toronto obviously looks like they just kind of want to get rid of him as well. So Toronto gets Matt Benning, gets a couple of picks. I did see right before we hopped on today that there's some chatter or whatever that Matt Benning may end up just getting flipped again.
No.
Because it sucks. Um, and then when I watched Steve Dangle's reaction to this trade, it kind of also seemed like he was also saying, like, I don't really think he fits in anywhere.
Mm.
He if he gets sent down to the AHL, I mean, well, that's not very beneficial for a guy who should probably be playing in the NHL, but he doesn't. It's not really seeming likely that he's going to crack for the Leafs defense.
Right.
So it just seems like maybe they just want the picks at the end of the day. Maybe that's just what worked out for the Leafs to take on Matt Benning, and then it works out for them to also give us Liljegren because they're like, hey, he's not gonna. We're done. We're done with this project, type of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm optimistic. We're in that business right now of taking on folks who are kind of like don't have a home, like no one wants them. We'll
The
take you
misfits, the
in.
outcasts.
He's going to get an opportunity to play here, and whether we keep him or not, I mean, I think all around it feels like it was a good move.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not mad about it. I think I said this over at Game Over last night as well. I think Liljegren has something to prove, and so I'm pretty optimistic that he will bring a decent amount of defense to the Sharks because we all know that we need it. Because currently, our only defense is Jake Walman. Mind you, this guy, I have to say, is my favorite addition of the offseason. I mean, that's a hard one because Toffoli's also pretty up there. But, well, okay, pause. Talking about trades, not talking about signings of new younglings joining the team, because obviously Celebrini is pretty exciting for us as well. But Jake Walman, just from the little bit that I've been able to watch this season, really solid defenseman, great personality off the ice. He's always like up in the plays, like whether it's offensively or defensively, he's always up to something. But like, oh my god, I can't talk. That's benefiting the plays in the moment. Uh, and then I think back at how we got him for free. We traded him for future considerations. Bless that guy, he's passed around all the time. But Listen, I have him on my fantasy team. I've mentioned this before, and he has been putting up points. I think he has like 8 points in the last 4 games for a defenseman. Crazy. Who does he think he is?
And he's
Eric
on one of
Carlson?
the worst teams in the league.
Right. And he's having a great time. The other day, the Sharks posted this video clip of Walman with the caption that says, "The way to Walman's signature, Pokemon." I think some kid gave him some Pokemon cards in exchange for his autograph, and I think it's super cute. This guy loves life. You can tell.
On the note of Walman and getting him for free, I was talking to a friend the other day about it, and we were just like, how did the like I guess the maybe the Wings didn't want to trade him to, like, obviously no one within their division, probably no one in the East, because that wouldn't help them out. Maybe the West, like, doesn't have their head on straight or something. Just the fact that, like, we got him for nothing, and it's like,
Right.
you, like, I'm just like, I think we need to get a Red Wings fan on here to, like, please explain to me
What happened?
how we, like, how we didn't have to pay you for him at all. Like, I mean, his contract, I think I looked it up the other day, was somewhere in the 3 mil, and I made the offhanded, no offense, but he, I was like, wow, he's doing so much better than LeBanc for less money than that. Which LeBanc is actually doing pretty decent on the Blue Jackets, apparently. I haven't watched any games, but he got his first goal the other day. I think he's got a handful of assists, so good for LeBanc. At the end of the day, we just needed that relationship needed to end.
Years ago.
But just the fact, like, and also piggybacking off of what you're talking about, just whenever he has the puck, it just, you, like, he doesn't look like he's deer in headlights, like, oh my god, what do I do with it? What do I do? He looks like he's already seen it 4 steps ahead, and his reactions make me think of, like, dude's just got AirPods in and he's just listening to his favorite playlist. Like, nothing is phasing him right now. Just the way that he's able to move on the ice. And then in the first period, right after he took that check from, who was it? Who was mentioned
Besser?
last night? Yeah, right after he took the check from him, and he was just hobbling over in pain, but then he's like, oh no, gotta help the team, gotta get up. He got you probably like 2 extra blocks while he was like like bent over, and he's like, no, gotta help the team, and he's just like hanging out in between, and I'm like, dude, like, some, like, please just stop the puck. Bro's in pain. Bro needs to go to the bench, and he's still like, no, I gotta help the team.
Crazy. Yeah, he's definitely been one of my favorite additions in the past few years. And I know I say this every year. Oh, I love this guy. Oh, I love this guy. But like because he's actually like his his joy for the game is actually translating on the ice when he plays. Um and he's actually producing and doing good things on the ice. It's really nice to see that. The Sharks and defense have not had a relationship in the past like 3 or 4 years. Um, there was an Eric Carlson that played more of a, a wingman at points instead of a defenseman. But this is it's a nice change of pace. I'm excited to see what happens when if Vlasic comes back and he's still playing, like last season, he was progressing and playing a lot more defensively. If he comes back and if he's paired with Walman or whatever other guys and they're more like shut down defensemen, I'm curious to see if the defense gets any better from here, just because I'm happy with the additions that Greer put out. Oh, I wanted to mention earlier when you mentioned Iserman that what how did we get Walman for free? And I'm like, what if Greer has like blackmail on Iserman or something? Like, how do you get such a good defenseman for nothing? That's crazy.
He's got some photos held hostage or something.
Not photos from their time playing together back in who knows when. Oh, okay. We have to pause here for an ad here. Look, today we're sponsored by Raycon. If you guys don't know Raycon, they produce earbuds. Please bear with me as this is my first time doing this ad thing. So as we know, it's November. Black Friday, Cyber Monday's coming up. Raycon is doing a 30% discount on their products. You can get an amazing deal on their premium audio every day of the year, but that doesn't mean they're not having any sales for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. They're actually doubling down on their amazing value by offering viewers, like I said, 30% site-wide. A deal you'll appreciate every day, Raycon's Everyday Earbuds, especially if you haven't checked out their latest model, which includes plenty of new features that make them even more of a must-have for any audio lover. For example, they now feature a 32-hour battery life and multi-point connectivity that lets you pair it with 2 devices at once. Raycon's Everyday Earbuds also come with active noise cancellation. It's a feature that's a must-have for long flights. Here in the Bay Area, if you're commuting, you can use it on BART or the bus, whatever it is that you're taking if you don't drive. But one that can be difficult to find an accessible price point until now. Because that's another thing. Although Raycon's quality rivals some of the biggest names in premium audio, Raycon start at just half the price as the other guys. So they're already an incredible deal, even before you factor in their Black Friday and Cyber Monday offer of up to 30% off site-wide. Raycon's Everyday Earbuds are also available in a variety of vibrant colors, so if you don't have to just have the standard issue white or black earbuds sticking out of your ears. If you go online and check them out, they do have like a forest green. They have a blush violet, which is really nice because it's very close to lavender. I love me lavender. And then there's this cute one that's like a watermelon color. If you like some fun, vibrant things going on there, check those out. Now's the perfect time to scoop them up if you haven't already. And don't worry if you're not as impressed as I am. Raycon offers a 30-day happiness guarantee, so you really can't lose. It's time to save big for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Go to buyraycon.com/THPN today to get up to 30% off site-wide. That's right, you'll get up to 30% off everything on Raycon's website when you go to buyraycon.com/THPN. Go get yourself some new earbuds, y'all. Okay, back to our little itinerary here. This lady we have mentioned before. We have a little, I don't know what the word is, appreciation for this woman, Lexi LeFleur Brown. Her, JT, some of my favorite people on social medias. This past week, I think this was yesterday. Yesterday, she had posted a little insight about how NHL players are actually paid. You can go ahead and talk about this one. I need a breather.
Yeah, so I'm not sure who this person is that she quote tweeted. It was a fan who had all these questions just kind of typed out. And the tweet says, I have questions for NHLers. Here are some. And so it looks like Lexi took it upon herself to enlighten us with a few of them. One in which is how the NHL players are paid. Lexi tweeted out saying NHL players are paid bi-weekly direct deposit, but only from the first game of the season to the last. They are not paid for playoffs, but get a small bonus. Players are taxed in every city they play in and get per diem on the road, sometimes paid in cash, and I would steal from JT. And then a secondary tweet said, I answer questions like this on my TikTok a lot. Playoff bonus is small compared to normal salary. Still, 10K to 15K to get swept in 4 games sounds nice to me. LOL. So I mean, right off the bat, I don't personally know any teachers, but well, okay, maybe that's not true. One of my teammates is a teacher, and I believe they don't they don't get paid during the summer. So they have
Right.
to figure out a way to, from whatever they get during the school year, they have to figure out how they're, unless they do some sort of summer school teaching or whatever to supplement during the summer. This seems like it makes sense that that they would get paid during the regular season in this format. I guess I was surprised to see the part where they don't get paid for the playoffs. I guess that's not part of the contract, their salary. I'm like, and on top of that, them getting taxed in every city that they play in. Like that's wild. Like just think about, I mean, like I don't really own anything that needs me to have to file my taxes at the end of the year with anything other than just the standard. So like I've been doing my taxes on my own for ever since like I needed to start paying, more or less. Can like and well, with the exception of like I did like some I've done some contract work while I was going through undergrad, and then I did like a freelance a few years back, and then I had to like whatever form you have to fill out to like your own business or something, like you're self-employed, and that just like I managed to figure it out on my own, but I can see when people have to start considering taxes if you own a house or any sort of thing, if you actually have like a dedicated small business, like people just ending up paying someone to do it, because the last thing you want to do is have the IRS coming down on you because you put an extra zero somewhere or you didn't do whatever, because yeah, taxes can get really crazy. So just the fact that they pay taxes in every city, like I don't even want to think about it. That sounds crazy.
Yeah, not something I thought about. I knew about the fact that they don't get paid for playoffs, except for the bonus or whatever. But I didn't know that they got taxed in every city that they play in, which is crazy because those numbers vary, and like California taxes are so high. Like I bet they hate coming to play out here. If there's
That
these
just
two,
doesn't work in our favor. We don't need NHL players mad when they come to California.
it's not our fault, all right? It's government stuff.
Don't take it out on my team.
It's not their fault either. Oh, but yeah, this is a really fun insight. I saw she also responded to another question about what they do with the bonus, or maybe she said something herself where because it is a quote unquote small cash bonus, she was curious to know what other rookie players spent their first bonus on, because it's a lot of money. You're young, what is the first thing that pops to mind? And she said that JT went out and bought a truck, and that he wasn't being helped because he decided to go and buy this thing in his PJs. It's just like, yeah, that's, can you imagine? There's something about when you go to buy a car. I've heard that depending on how you dress is how different, like you'll be treated differently by the salespeople. And so if someone goes in PJs, Of course they don't want to help him. He's probably a young kid too. Like, what are you doing here in PJs? Like, and just to come to find out that he has a pocket full of cash to pay for this thing, and they were upset that none of them helped him except for whoever did. But yeah, just fun little stories from them. All right, a little bit more serious. The NHLPA Executive Director Marty Walsh announced tonight in Boston. No, tonight. What is this? What day was this? This was 2 nights ago. So Friday night. He announced that in Boston that the Players Union has formed a CTE advisory committee. Frank Saravalli was the first to report this, I believe. But yeah, I didn't get a chance to look into this one. So you got info?
So I didn't really see too much else outside of this just being announced, but my first thought was to troll on Gary Bettman because a while back when there was all those reports coming out for CTE, we know that like head injuries have kind of led to the unfortunate end of certain hockey players and their retirement. There's not enough awareness and advocacy being done to like I mean we've mentioned this in a number of ways, our own perspectives on just the safety of the players and just like when players are like headhunting. I mean, I feel like the NHL is maybe trying more than they have in the past to kind of crack down on that and to have harsher consequences for it. But I mean, I feel like we still have a long way to go. I mean, especially with like the fighting. I mean, you're pretty much socking a dude in the head, and we're just kind of allowing that to just go on and um it's kind of hard to sort of take this stuff seriously and enjoy the sport when you're seeing players in their retirement just dealing with the consequences of if they were quote unquote an enforcer and that was their role to pretty much their livelihood, like you either do that or you don't have a spot on this roster, and then they go and retire and then they have to deal with all of the consequences of years after years of getting socked in the head. And then so then we see the results of all that, and yet when it was brought to the attention of the NHL some seasons ago, Barry Gary Bettman is just like, oh well, that doesn't exist in the NHL, and it's like you are a piece of shit. And here we go, the players, um, the PA is putting together this committee, and it's like, but wait, I thought CTE doesn't exist in the NHL. Why do you need an advisory committee when it's not here?
Right. I'm curious to
So,
see if this does anything. Because what is a advisory committee really?
mhm.
Without doctors involved. This is the players' union forming this committee. If it's just a bunch of them talking to each other, like, oh, do you think this could cause CTE? Like, I don't like get some medical professionals in this committee, please. It'd be nice to get more information about this and see if this is actually going to benefit the players or not. Because then, what's the point? Why? What is this for?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see as more information comes out with what this committee is going to comprise of. But yeah, just right off the bat, I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
It is, but in what way?
Hmm.
Tell me more, please. All right. Lastly, as Bay Area folks here, we have to support our Bay Area teams no matter what. Well, that's a lie, but last night, our precious Bay FC, very first season playing in the NW, oh my god, NWSL. They just clinched a playoff berth. We're so excited. We're so happy for them. Um, Soccer playoffs work differently. It's basically sudden death. You play one game, you're out if you lose. We're excited they got in anyway. We're hoping to see them move past the first round. I haven't been able to catch any games watching them, but like, you know, from afar, keeping up with scores or whatever, it does seem like they've reached a place where they're playing better, like more cohesively than how they first started off the season. Yeah, we're excited. This is fun. This is great for Bay Area sports. How you feeling? You're a big fan.
Yeah, like you, I'm just living on cloud nine that we clinched. Like anything extra from here, I just feels like bonus because when we first got this team, I mean, either way, even if they didn't make it and they just went on like a long losing streak, I would have watched every game, continued to show my love, wearing Bay FC gear. Like, it's their first season. They, they started out looking like, oh, yeah, we definitely look new. And then throughout the season, they made some trades here and there. They got more veterans. I think a number of them were on the defensive side because we really needed to lock that down. Oh, look, they have so much in common with the Sharks. Need to work on the defense, and they did that. There were a couple players that got moved on, but last night's game. So what ended up happening was Bay FC. The last time I looked, they were in the final position, eighth in the standings, which would be the last team to make it into the playoffs. And the team that was ahead of us initially, they were in seventh, but I guess something happened during the last couple of weeks that we jumped into seventh. So all we were kind of needed to do was we needed to win or draw, and then we had to hope that the Racing Louisville would do worse, like
Hmm.
today being Sunday. But, going into it, I was like, no, let's just focus on winning. Let's not, have to bite our nails hoping that like we can just hang on and not get knocked out. Whatever the scenario was, Bay took command last night. Like Rachel Kunanji almost got a hat trick. She was just so determined to get this team into the playoffs. So it was really complicated last night because we went on game over. If we hadn't gone on game over, I would have just watched Bay FC's game because it was the final one of the season and we've got something on the line versus the Sharks. I mean, it's early in the season, I can miss a game, but instead I'm like, no, I have to watch the game, so I have something to say during game over, but then
Yeah.
I've got to watch Bay because, obviously important game. But so I had them playing, I had one on my computer and I had one on the TV and I was just looking back and forth and like I missed the first two goals, I saw the third. And so just like all around, it just felt like the longest evening ever, just trying to keep up with these two teams. Um, I didn't get to see the last little bit because I was getting ready for us to go on game over, but there was this clip I saw later on of Kundananji. She was like in the opposing team zone. She was off to the left, and she had like a sizable distance from like defender, and the defender was just kind of standing there waiting for her to make the move and wasn't like aggressively going at her. And she literally taunted them like, "Let's go, let's go." I was like,
The
"Dang!"
confidence.
She's such a boss. She's just like, "Let's go." And then they came up to her and she totally schooled them. I was like, she's so rad. She's such a boss. I don't recall if she had like any like chance after that. Just but that whole sequence, I was like, I love her. She's so confident. And then I was telling you during the game that she slid to try and like knock the ball out from um from the opponent's possession, and she accidentally got hit in the face with
Mm.
the opponent's cleat, and so she was on the ground, and I don't know why she got served that yellow, but the ref was just kind of standing there with the card, and like Kundananji just like her face is down on the field because when she got up, you could tell that she had like some blood in her mouth. There was like some tissue up her nose after they let her go back out on the field, and she's just out there, big smile, taunting people, celebrating. Like I think there was another player on the other team who was also from her home country, so they did the swap of the jerseys, and then she was yelling and exciting after the game. Like lots of great vibes for Bay FC, and coincidentally, we're gonna end up going against the Washington Spirit. And a friend of ours to the podcast is a fan of the Washington Spirit, so it'll be a very interesting time to watch those teams go at it. I actually prefer this matchup versus if we ended up in the eighth position, because then we would have to go against the Pride. And I
Mhm.
looked the other day, the Pride have only lost 2 games in the season, and I think got a handful of draws. So they've been on this crazy winning streak. And I like Bay's in a much different place now, where they obviously their plays are clicking much better. They're much better in defense, but wow, that would have been crazy if we have to go against like the number one team in the league for our inaugural season. But even if that were the case, exciting time for Bay, exciting time in their inaugural season. Like it's a very exciting team. So if you're not already as excited as us about this soccer team, you need to get excited because they're a lot of fun.
They're doing things, and like all the other teams in this freaking area. When's their first playoff game?
That should be in a couple of weeks because Jude had said it was the same day when the Devils go against the Sharks, and that's 2 weekends from today.
So like the 16th,
The 17th, I believe. No, the
Sunday.
16th. You're right. No, wait. I've got it all messed up. Don't listen to me. No, next weekend.
Oh,
Next weekend.
next weekend. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
well, I hope they win. Uh, I think I ended up the game I went to. They were playing the Spirit, and no, it was a game I watched on TV. They didn't do well against them. The Spirit were really good. Let's
Well,
see.
this is a new Bay team.
It sure is. No, okay, it's not a home game. All right, I was trying to see.
I don't think we get any of the home. I don't think it works like the NHL where they fly back and forth.
Right. Ah, what do I know about soccer? Psh. Anyways, any last thoughts you want to throw out into the world?
No, I think that's it.
Yeah, we did a lot of talking today. I'm
Did a
hungry.
lot of talking yesterday too.
Yeah.
To reiterate, go check
uh,
out Game Over for
yeah.
our additional thoughts on the Canucks and the Sharks game the other day.
Yeah, go do that. Just go listen to us yap. All right. Well, this has been another episode on Over the Glass. I am your host, Ness.
And I'm Jay.
Thanks for joining us again. See y'all next weekend. Bye.
Bye.